Viktor Kozlov was a man who had grown up in the darkest streets of Los Angeles. At 35 years old, 6 feet tall, his body covered in tattoos, his eyes filled with the hardness that years had brought. For 18 years, he had been known as the leader of the Red Eagle gang. Earlier that evening, Viktor sat with his gang in their old warehouse, making plans for their next move. Various photos of houses were spread across the table, rich neighborhoods, security systems, valuable items. Viktor was familiar with all of these. "Boss," said Alexei, one of Viktor's closest men, "these houses in the Hollywood Hills are really wealthy, but security is tight." As Viktor shuffled through the photos in his hand, he stopped. Among them was a house that looked different from the others. It wasn't big. It wasn't very flashy either, but somehow it had caught Viktor's attention. "Whose house is this?" he asked, holding up the photo. "Keanu Reeves's house," said Alexei. "That actor, you know. But boss, he's very loved." "Maybe someone else." Viktor laughed bitterly. "Loved? I don't care if anyone loves me on the street. If there's money, I'll go there." Viktor had broken into hundreds of houses before and stolen thousands of dollars. For him, this was just another job, but tonight would be different. Tonight, he would face the biggest turning point of his life. Near midnight, Viktor quietly examined the surroundings of Keanu's house. In the quiet streets of Beverly Hills, moonlight filtered through the rooftops of houses. There were security cameras, but Viktor was used to them. He had been doing this job for years. There was no remorse in Viktor's heart. He had grown up on the streets, lost his mother at 7, and never knew his father. Life had shown him no mercy, so he would show mercy to no one. At the back of the house, he found a small window. The security system was weaker in this area. Viktor skillfully opened the window and slipped inside. He paused for a moment in the dark corridor, listening. The house was silent. When Viktor stepped inside, the warmth of the house surprised him. This didn't feel like a cold, rich man's house. There were family photos on the walls, bookshelves, and simple but warm furniture. This wasn't the kind of house Viktor had expected. But Viktor wasn't one to get emotional. He focused on his job. He began searching for valuable items, watches, jewelry, money. He had to find these. As Viktor quietly searched in the living room, a voice from behind froze him. "Couldn't find what you were looking for." When Viktor turned around, he saw Keanu Reeves holding a plate of food. But Keanu didn't look scared. He was calm, even slightly smiling. Viktor reflexively drew his gun and pointed it at Keanu. His heart was beating fast. Being caught wasn't in his plan. "Back off," Viktor shouted. "I'll just take the money and leave. I don't intend to hurt anyone." Keanu slowly raised his hands, but there was no fear in his eyes. "Okay," he said in a calm voice. "But first, can I ask you this? When was the last time you had a hot meal?" Viktor was surprised. This wasn't a question he had expected. What do you mean?" "I'm just curious," said Keanu, placing the plate on the table. "Because I have extra food on this plate. If you want, you can sit down." Viktor gripped his gun tighter. "Are you mocking me? Is this a trap?" "No," said Keanu. "Just, look, you came in here, but you didn't kill me. That's a good thing. Maybe you just need help." Viktor remained silent for a few seconds. Was this man really offering him food? To the man he was pointing a gun at. Are you really crazy?" Viktor asked. Keanu laughed lightly. "Maybe. But think about this. You came all the way here. You found me here, but you still haven't caused any harm. This shows that you're not really a bad person." Viktor's hand began to tremble. This conversation wasn't going as he had planned. "You don't know me. I'm a gang leader. I've hurt people. I've done bad things." "Yes, you may have done bad things in the past," said Keanu. "But right now, here, you're just a man who looks hungry, and I'm just a man offering food. Viktor didn't lower his gun, but Keanu's words were affecting him. When was the last time someone had treated him so kindly? He couldn't remember. "Why?" Viktor asked. "Why are you helping me? I broke into your house." "Because," said Keanu, "everyone deserves a second chance, including you." Viktor slowly lowered his gun. What was this feeling inside him? Was it anger or some other emotion? He wasn't sure. Do you really want this?" he asked. "Yes," said Keanu. "Sit down, eat. Then, if you want, tell me your story." Viktor helplessly sat at the table. The gun was still in his hand, but he was no longer threatening. Keanu offered him the plate. Inside was homemade pasta and vegetables. When Viktor took the first bite, he almost cried. When was the last time he had eaten such warm, homemade food? It had been years. "This is really delicious," said Viktor, his voice trembling. "Thank you," said Keanu. "I love cooking. It brings people together." As Viktor ate, Keanu quietly sat across from him. He wasn't judging, wasn't questioning. He was just there. Viktor began to speak. "When I was little, my mother used to make me meals like this. After she died, nothing was ever the same." "Do you have good memories with your mother?" Keanu asked. Viktor wiped his eyes. "Yes. She always taught me to be a good person. 'Viktor,' she would say, 'the world is a tough place, but you always keep a good heart.' But after she died, I was left on the streets, and the streets change you." Viktor continued telling his story. The hardships he experienced in his childhood years, his struggle to survive on the street, how he got involved with the gang. Keanu listened carefully to every word. He didn't interrupt, didn't judge. He just listened. "You know," said Viktor, "I've been living as a gang leader for 18 years, but I've never really been happy. Every night when I go to bed, I think about what my mother would say to me." "What do you think she would say?" Keanu asked. Tears streamed from Viktor's eyes. "She would be ashamed of me. Very ashamed." Keanu reached across the table and touched Viktor's hand. This simple gesture was enough to shake Viktor. "But Viktor," said Keanu, "it's not too late. It's never too late. You can still change. You can still make your mother proud." "How?" Viktor asked. "I've done too much evil. No one will forgive me." "I will forgive you," said Keanu. "And if you forgive yourself too, others will forgive you too." Viktor began to cry. The pain, regret, loneliness he had accumulated for years, everything was coming out. I came to rob you," said Viktor. "You gave me food. I threatened you. You showed me compassion. How can you have such a good heart?" "Because," said Keanu, "I've been through hard times too. I've made mistakes too. But someone gave me a second chance. Now I'm giving you one." Viktor put his gun on the table. He no longer needed it. What should I do? How do I change?" "First," said Keanu, "you need to leave the gang. Then you need to find a real job. And most importantly, every day you need to do things that would make your mother proud." "But leaving the gang isn't easy," said Viktor. "They won't let me go." "I'll help you," said Keanu. "I know lawyers. I have security experts. We'll protect you." Viktor was surprised. "Why are you doing this? Why are you taking risks for me?" "Because you deserve it," said Keanu. "Everyone deserves a second chance." Keanu handed Viktor a piece of paper. An address was written on it. "This is my friend's construction company," he said. "Go tomorrow. Mention my name. He'll give you a job." Viktor took the paper in his hand as if he were holding treasure. Is this real? Will I have a job?" "Yes," said Keanu. "But you need to completely leave the gang. This won't be easy." "I know," said Viktor. "But I'm ready now. I'm ready for my mother." Keanu stood up and extended his hand to Viktor. Viktor, without any hesitation, shook that hand. "Viktor," said Keanu, "you're a good person. You just needed to find the right path." "Thank you," said Viktor in tears. You saved my life." The next day, Viktor went to the address Keanu had given him. His heart was beating fast. Would he really be hired? Tom Mitchell, the owner of the construction company, was an old friend of Keanu's. When he saw Viktor, he was suspicious at first, but he trusted Keanu's recommendation. "Keanu told me your story," said Tom. "Your past doesn't matter to me. What matters is what you do from now on." He gave Viktor a chance. An entry-level job, but an honest job. When Viktor worked his first day at the construction site, his hands had bled. He had never worked this physically in gang life, but there was pride inside him. This money was honest money. But leaving the gang wasn't so easy. His old friends had found him, threatened him. "You were our leader," Alexei had said. "Now you're working construction. This is a shame." "No," Viktor had said. "The shame was hurting innocent people for years. Now I'm proud." During Viktor's process of leaving the gang, Keanu was constantly by his side. He provided him security, gave legal support, and most importantly, offered moral support. Every week, Viktor visited Keanu, just to talk. Keanu taught him life lessons. "Viktor," Keanu had said one day, "taking revenge is easy, forgiving is hard, but real strength is in forgiving." "You forgave me too," Viktor had said. "Yes," Keanu had said, "because you deserve to be forgiven." Viktor also rose quickly in the company where he worked. He was honest, hard-working, and reliable. Tom Mitchell began giving him more responsibility. 6 months later, Viktor became a foreman. Now he was leading other workers, but this time not to cause harm, but to build. One day while Viktor was working, a young man came up to him. The man was homeless, unemployed, and resembled what Viktor had been like years ago. "Sir," the man had said, "is there work here? I'm very hungry." Viktor saw himself at that moment. Years ago, he too had been so desperate. "Come," Viktor had said, "let me buy you food, then we'll talk to the boss." Viktor showed that young man the same compassion that Keanu had shown him. He found him a job, provided him a place to stay, and most importantly, believed in him. This was the beginning of Viktor's new life. Now he wasn't just fixing his own life, he was helping to fix others' lives too. A year later, Viktor made a special visit to Keanu. But this time, he had a gift in his hand. "What is this?" Keanu asked, opening the package. A handmade frame came out. Inside the frame was a photo of Viktor's mother, and next to it writing, "My mother would be proud of me now. Thank you, Keanu." Tears streamed from Keanu's eyes. "Viktor, this is beautiful." "You gave me a second chance," said Viktor. "I'm giving others second chances too. This will continue like this." Viktor also gave him something else. Documents for a foundation established in Keanu's name. Second Chance Foundation, for the rehabilitation of former criminals. "Viktor, this is incredible," said Keanu. "You saved my life," said Viktor. "Now it's my turn to save others' lives." 2 years later, Viktor was now a partner in the construction company. Through the Second Chance Foundation, they had helped hundreds of people. Keanu and Viktor were now not just friends, but like brothers. Viktor attended Keanu's movie premieres, and Keanu visited Viktor's construction projects. One day, Viktor had said to Keanu, "You're like an angel to me." Keanu had laughed. "No, Viktor, you were already good. I just helped you remember that." Viktor today is a respected businessman in Los Angeles, but more importantly, he's a man his mother would look at with pride. Every night before going to bed, he looks at his mother's photo and says, "Mom, you can be proud now. I'm a good person." And Keanu Reeves? He's not just an actor, he's a real-life hero. Because the mercy he showed Viktor that night changed not just one person's life, but hundreds of people's lives. This story teaches us, sometimes the greatest heroism is not throwing punches, but extending a hand. Not fighting, but forgiving. And Keanu Reeves is a true hero for exactly this reason. If this story affected you, don't forget to hit the like button and tell us in the comments, have you ever had a moment when you gave someone a second chance? Don't forget to subscribe for more Keanu Reeves stories that will affect you.